And it's Ken Kraetzer for CaMMVetsMedia. We cover cadets, midshipmen, the military, and veterans proudly since 2008. We're glad today to have a chance to talk about Army lacrosse and talk to their head coach, Joe Alberici. Coach, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Ken. Thanks so much for having me on.
It's a pleasure. Good to catch up. And you've already got one game under your belt up at UMass. How's the prep for the season been this year?
Listen, it's been great. I've been really pleased with our guys, the effort, knowing what's in front of us, with so many new faces or guys, excuse me, guys who will be playing in new roles. It has created a great sense of urgency throughout, going back to August, and the preparations have continued, and we know that there is a great importance to improvement throughout the year. So although the preseason is gone, and as you previously mentioned, we've had our opener. The need to get better week to week is paramount in the program.
Well, certainly Saturday you've got a big game against Rutgers coming in from the Big Ten, and that'll be a big test. So tell us about some of your key players, some of your seniors.
Yeah. So when I look at our group, senior wise, it is there's not many in terms of numbers, but guys that are still having a significant impact in our program. Andrew Kelly has battled some injury throughout the preseason here. Was available to us, played a small role in the UMass game. We expect him to be back and running a regular shift. He's a captain, tremendous player, tremendous student. And then Deacon Donaldson is a guy who has had a huge impact for us on the defensive end. He unfortunately went down with an injury in the UMass game, and Quinn Binney is another young man who's captain of the team, who unfortunately we lost for the season with a knee injury. So those are a few of the guys: Jackson Tyler, Stevie Graber, guys that have not always had huge roles on the field, but have been really important to our success, and a big piece of who we are and our culture.
Is defense as key in lacrosse as it is in other sports, basketball, hockey, and perhaps you could tell us about a little bit about your goaltending and key defenders.
Yeah, I would say absolutely. I'm very certain. The parallels would be, there's some great parallels to both basketball and hockey. The one obvious one in hockey is goaltending. So when you got it, you can ride a hot goalie to victory, and maybe cover up some of the flaws in your game. And relative to basketball, I would say what you get defensively is, if you're good defensively, Ken, you have a chance to be consistent.
Sure.
So there are certain days that the ball just doesn't go in the net for you, just like in basketball. You've got good shooters that miss. But if you're good defensively, you can be consistent, and that's been a trademark in this program. Kind of a cornerstone, so to speak, of who we are and how we define ourselves, is on that defensive end, and letting it be known that everybody who comes in is a defender. So even when you're an attackman, the ball hits the ground, you got to take a defensive mindset.
Absolutely. Now on the other side, tell us a little bit about the players who you're counting on to score points for you.
So Reese Burek and Paul Johnson are a couple of guys at the attack position that had significant roles for us last year, as did Jake Moore. Jake is a returning All Patriot League player, in the midfield, one of the premier shooters in the country in our sport. Those are three of the returning guys that we're looking to and we're relying on.
Very good. Now, maybe take a look at your schedule. Obviously, this weekend you're going to play number 8 Rutgers, and you're going to travel. You got a home game against Wagner. You're going to travel to Georgia to play Mercer, and you got some of your Patriot League games coming up. Loyola's number 11, and of course Navy. Tell us what do you expect in the Patriot League? It's certainly one of the best lacrosse leagues in the country.
Yeah, and I think it will be the same again this year. Traditionally it has been there. Ken is amongst the nation's elite when it comes to lacrosse, and this year with Boston University, who we lost to in the Patriot League Championship last year, returning 98% of their scoring. Loyola, who's traditionally been at the very top of the league, coming out early with a big win over number 1 Maryland, 12-7 last weekend in the opening weekend. So they those are just to name a couple. Navy's excellent, as is Lehigh and Bucknell, and the list goes on. The list goes on. Every game is going to be a big one for us. We couple that with one of the toughest schedules nationally. Rutgers is one of the 2 Final Four teams that we played last year, 2022 Final Four teams. So Rutgers, who we're taking on this weekend, as preseason, or excuse me, maybe they're number 8, 7-8, something along those lines. Cornell, who we'll see in April. It was a Final Four national national runner-up last year. So we had played terrific up there in Ithaca, and was able to get a 7-goal win over them last year. And we got a lot to take care of before they come here again, but certainly that is will be an exciting day in Michie.
Yeah, we were discussing before that lacrosse has an over 100-year legacy and history at West Point. You've had great teams over the years. Maybe you could just mention to the audience some of the high points of the history of Army lacrosse.
Yeah, so there is 106-year history in Army lacrosse. So first season was back in the early 1900s. They've been playing every year since 1921. So it's 106, not years, 106 seasons. Just a great, a great program, and one of the most storied programs in lacrosse. 8 national championships, 13 Army players or coaches are in the National Lacrosse Hall of Fame. Over nearly 400 All-Americans in our history. So there's just really a strong tradition and of being able to play at the highest level and win championships. And I think that's part of the story. That's the on the field story, Ken. I think the greater part of the story are the men who have played here and what they've gone on to do. The countless generals, the leaders that they have gone on and served our country in the military and outside of the military is one that we are equally proud of in the Army lacrosse family.
Absolutely, 8 national championships, but extraordinary service by former players in the U.S. Army and tremendous leadership that they have provided. Just a final question. We just see year by year lacrosse is growing. More teams, outside of the Northeast. Women's lacrosse is growing. You have a new team at Army that's doing very well. What is fueling the growth of lacrosse? It must be gratifying for someone like yourself who's been in it for your career.
Yeah, it is. It's one of the, if not the fastest growing sport at the youth level. And really, Ken, what it comes down to is it's a fun sport to play as a youngster. You have you're outdoors. It's a fast game. It is, for those who care for the physicality, it's a physical game.
Sure.
And it's just sprouting all over the place and amongst the youth. At the collegiate level, in the last 25 to 30 years, the Division III has tripled in size. So there's well over 300 teams. Division II is quadrupled in size, and Division I is probably twice the size as it was in the 80s. I don't know, I have the exact numbers, but we're over 75 programs right now in the Division I. So you're seeing that on the men's side. And the women's side, the growth has been even more rapid, and the women's side of it, Division I is I believe over 120 schools playing it, and I wouldn't have the statistics in the other two divisions, but it's growing at the college level, and the reason for that is it's growing in the youth level, and going back to it, the growth part of it just becomes it's an exciting game to play, it's a fun game to play, and you know, that's why you're seeing the growth you are.
And you've provided a lot of leadership to the sport in your career, and being the head coach at the U.S. Military Academy. Just final thought as you get set for your home opener against Rutgers this weekend.
Yeah, listen, this could be a great test. They're very deserving of their top 8 national ranking, depending upon what poll you're looking at. They're very talented. They put pressure on you all over the place, and our guys are really excited for that challenge. We came up short in our opener, but there are some pieces that we were really pleased with in terms of how we played, and with a lot of new faces, guys stepping up into bigger roles. And the anticipation is that we will be better than we were last week, and excited for this huge challenge.
Well, great to talk with you today, Army head lacrosse coach Joe Alberici, and we'll look forward to catching up with you during the season. And this is Ken Kraetzer for CaMMVetsMedia. We cover cadets, midshipmen, the military, and veterans proudly since 2008. Thank you for watching.